Hello. So we are like going through the assignment number 2, which is like population dynamics, population by age, sex, projections, racial, ethnic, and income changes. So the first one is just to create a population pyramid. So you will actually gather data from Social Explorer. You can also do it through like using the American Community Survey, but like Social Explorer is probably the easiest way. And I'm saying you can use a comprehensive report, or you can use like tables to be able to get this data. But like, let's go to like Social Explorer. So this Explorer will go to actually maps, and here you can choose by census place to get to like Salt Lake City. And if you like zoom in to Utah, you can find Salt Lake City. But actually, we will be using census tracts because we are going just to specifically look at the west side. And in your um, sheet of the instructions, it actually says like which census tracts are the west side. You can see here in the data analysis instruction in step number 10 of looking at Social Explorer, and these are the census tracts that you need to select, and this is how it will look like. So if we go back to Social Explorer, you can actually do a report here. So it's a create a report where you can find the data specifically here in change data. And here we were looking at age, so you can just like simply go to age, and it will find the different ages. So for the population pyramid, you would need males and females, and these are just like what it says, like this is a short version, right? Again, male, female, short versions. I'm looking at the different ones because as you can see, you can find for race and ethnicity. There's many options here. Um, you could choose the short version of like females and males for like 2018. But basically you would just like select these. And then it doesn't seem like you can select them simultaneously, so you would just select those. Let's pick just females, and then you can get the males later. But basically that's kind of like how you will select them. As you can see here, what how it did this through like dot density, but you can actually then download the data. Also, if you get like an essential report, you can get out here the age, and you need to select the actual geography. And then you can download this data. Um, you can create here the report. It will show you the different tables. It will show you the information for each census tract. But if you go to the last, it will go to the total for those census tracts. So it will sum everything up. And here it will show you um, the female population and the male population that you need to build the population pyramid. But again, this is like a short version. So there's a YouTube video of like how to make the population pyramid, and it's like right here. You can watch that about like how to make it so you assign some negatives to males and some positives to females in order to have a table that looks like this. If you don't know how to do the population pyramid, you can simply show um, a chart that shows the males and females. Um, what I showed you was the short version. There's a way of like also getting the long version, and it's shown in that like if you go here, you can actually find like sex by age. Yeah, I went there by going to tables, and then you just simply like add that, and then just show results, and that's how I get the long one. So it's like males and females. Usually for population pyramids, it's better to use this, but again, you might find that being more simple is better. So it's up to you. Let's go to the second exercise. Here, it shows you like how to make a projection into the future. You can use that. We can watch, this other YouTube video of how to do that. You can also do your own calculation. And here it shows an example. If, for example, if there was like a particular percentage growth, like in the last 10 years, the population grew by 20%, then you can just expect that will be the population um, growth in the next 10 years. And so you can just calculate that. So I give you an example of like looking for the state of Utah and see like what is the population growth that has happened, or you can use it also for Salt Lake City, and based on that you can just simply estimate how much it would be the population growth in the west side. So again, like if it was 10% population growth or 20% in Salt Lake City in the last 10 years, you will say that will continue its trend in the next 10 years or so. So that's like a very simple way of like how to do um, projections. Um, and then here the idea was like to look at the total population. So you only have to do like a total population chart. This example is a little bit misleading because it shows African American, whites, and Latinos. But what you want is just the total population. So to do that, you will go back to Social Explorer, and you can just go to, you have your like selection for the west side, but you can just look for the total population. And that will be in the essentials or in the comprehensive report. Just do the essentials and create. So that's where you have the total population. And again, you will have to go to the back to find out the total population there. You could change the years because the idea is that you would show this data for 1970 to the most recent data. So this sample is 2017, but you can use 2018. So you can find a different survey. And the you can pick the ACS like 1 year estimate. So for the um, just the 1970s and 80s and so on, the um, just census data should be okay, like this US decennial census. So it shows, census of 1990, 1980, 1970. So if we start in the 1970s, we can just begin report there. And we could just select here the census tracts. Um, I probably will go back to the geographies, sorry, because this way will be a little bit convoluted. Let's go to maps again, I'm sorry. So let's go to maps and explore. This will be easier. And then we can again zoom in, find the census tracts that you're interested in. I'm not going to pick them all right now, but you can change the data here. And what we're looking for was just the population. So here are the years. So this would be the easier way to do it. The total population, right? And then here are the years. But like if we go back in time, um, we can actually look at all years and pick 1970. And then total population. And if you actually just shows up bubbles, but it doesn't matter. You can just create a report. It shows 1970 now, and essential reports. Um, Comprehensive report is fine too, but it doesn't matter. Um, you have to select the geography. That's why it's not letting me do anything. Um, so let's just pick Idaho because it's there. But then you will just create that, and then you have total population of that census tract in Idaho for 1970. So the idea is that you will do that, but obviously looking at the only the census tracts in the west side, and then year by year, and you will then calculate by how much the population is growing to create your projections. And really from 2020 to 2030, you can just multiply whatever you get for 2018, and this would be the right way to do it, just by 18.18%. And then from 2030 to 2040, you can just put 17.95. This is something I already like did in terms of calculations. So you can just use those and then create your chart in where you would show only total population, not again Latinos, African Americans, or whites, and then show all the different population, total population from 1970 to 2018, and plus then you create 2020 to 2030 and so on. I hope that is helpful and it makes sense. So the next thing that you have to do is show geographical mobility. Here you will find Social Explorer tables to find out um, the people who are moving to the west side, and just create a simple graph. And this is like people who are moving from another state in comparison with moving within the state, being in the same county or in a different one. And you can use the raw numbers to create your own percentages, and then eliminate like other categories. But basically, this is like the table that you will find is geographical mobility in the past year for current residents in the United States. And I will use like renters because renters like move more often. Um, so this is for the whole United States, but we're gonna do it like for the west side, of course. Um, and this is what we're going for. This is actually um, comes from the report from the city, Salt Lake City, in where it says that 15% of people move from a different state, and that 85% of people within Utah move, in the same state in the past year. So here, what we are looking for is like how many new population we have, because the narrative is that a lot of people are moving here that are from outside of the state, and that some of the population growth that we should be expecting to see more and more in Utah. So to go to find this, the way that you will do it, I mean, you can just do it like through exploring the maps. And then we're going to look for data. This one is about mobility. So I think maybe residents. So it's like people resident 1 year ago in the same house, move within the same county, move from a different state, move from a different state. So you can just like pick these. Then you can create a report. It says current table selection. You have to pick the spaces. I'm just gonna pick anything and then create. So I think that this went to the just general report. So if I go here, you're looking for mobility. This is hard to find because there's not a way to just Google it. Well, there's no Google here, but you know what I mean. Let's just look. I somehow missed it. Oh, here, resident 1 year ago in the United States. I think that there was another way to find it too, because there's different names. But basically, I added that. Show results. Seems like I added it to this table. Yeah. So it was added to the comprehensive report that we previously created. And then this is again, you will have to do it for the census tracts that are in the website, and then just go to the total selected area. That was a little convoluted, but I hope that if you watch it again, you are able to find it. As you can see, the way I found it before, it was through a different venue, so geographical mobility in the past year for current residents, for renters only. And in this time, it was about just mobility. I'll tell you in a minute. Residents 1 year ago. It's a slightly different title, but it's the same data, really. So I think that that's it for this piece on geographical mobility. So the next one is just to create these like very cool slides. It will show the changes by the different decades, and for Latinos, African Americans, white, Asian, and Native American. And this is a dot map from Social Explorer. So let's try to make this. Here I wasn't selecting particularly some census tracts. This is a dot map, but this is like from previously looking at female population. So here we have to change the data, right? And what we want to get, we don't want this anymore. We don't want age at all. Maybe that was the best way to start. What we want is like race. So we will show blacks, whites, whatever you want to show here. And you can show this is probably the best, like not Hispanic or Latino, and then Hispanic and Latino. So let's choose these ones: white, black, Native American, Asian. You can choose as many as you want. Okay, I'm just gonna choose like these four, because then there's a lot of dots. Yeah, maybe Pacific Islander too, because I know there's a lot of Pacific Islanders in that area. You can play around. You can include whichever you think are good. So that's how we have our dot map for 2018. And we are here in West Valley. You can actually also change the density of the just trying to see if there's, because like you could see that other example was from Chicago, and there's a lot of people in Chicago. So the dot map look like fuller, but here it kind of looks like empty. So I'm just trying to find out if there's a way to change the density. I don't think there is, to make it so it's heavier, but I don't think there is. So this is the dot density. You can take a screenshot of this. And then create your dot map that way. You can also, I believe there's a way to do like time series here. I remember. It's a way to do storytelling. Tell story. So there's a storytelling here. Star story. And this will add like the different slides. So you have this slide. You can add a new slide. Just single, I guess. You can change the data, go to a different year. Let's say that you want 2010. I think they made that already. It's 2010. Add another slide. Show all years. 2000. Okay. Then another slide. Change data. Show all years. Now it's 1990. Now you just add a new slide. Okay, I'll add the last one, but you can do 1970. Change data, show all years. 1980. Well, now I'm almost with the next one, so let's do that. Let's find change data and then like 1970. Okay, let's see like how that worked out. So this just like shows, I guess, each slide. So it says you need to remember which years are which. I'm gonna exit this preview. I mean, you remember that it was like 2018, and then the next one was like 2010, and so on. I remember that there's a way you could do a video here, and you can export as PowerPoints, and you can export as images. So I would recommend you just like to export each slide. I made a video, so it's like it shows like all of them together, but you don't have to do that. You can just like export each slide and have that done. So that's how you do this, and you can do the same thing for the Latino density. I chose Latino because they're like the majority in the West Side. Obviously, this is from Chicago, so it shows also a lot of African Americans, but in the West Side, it's not going to be like that. Just in case people were more interested to look at the Latino population, because it's again 50% in the West Side, but in the 1970s, it wasn't like that. So it'd be interesting to show an animation of that as well. And as I said, I did this like animation by doing like a little video, but you don't have to do that. You can show each slide, and in that way it kind of like becomes animated. The next thing was like to look by households, by income, by decade. So this is like the same thing. I believe that I used a screenshot to be able to put the just the legend. So you might have to do that instead of exporting as PowerPoint, you can export as a JPEG and then just add, so you actually have the legend. Because I think, and it's still like exporting the slides. But again, you can just look for, yeah, it's kind of like still doing this, but you can do it for Latinos and for income. Or let's see like how it actually came out. Oh, it shows the legend, so it's perfect. Um, Obviously, I should have zoomed in, so I didn't do that very well. You can further zoom in because you can barely see, where. Yeah, well, actually, all of this is kind of like the west side, but you can find a better shot of like how to highlight the west side and maybe zooming in a little bit better. Yeah, and you can just use these like nice slides and add them, or if you find a way of how to animate them, that'll be great. So that's like what you have to do for the homework. I hope that this was helpful. Thank you.